This episode of Capes and Lunatics is brought to you by Tweaked Audio. Get awesome headphones, go to tweakedaudio.com and use the coupon code Southgate to get 30% off, free shipping, and a lifetime warranty. Or you can get there through the link on our website, southgatemediagroup.com.
Recording has started.
Hello and welcome once again, friends and neighbors, to Superconnectivity. I'm your host, Charlie the Professor Esther, and with me, as always, is the blue-eyed bomber from the Burger Pits.
Phil, me, and Perich.
That's the man. Hey, Philip. Glad you could join us once again.
Thank you.
Okay, so, have you seen Loki?
I saw the trailer we got.
So, crazy theory.
Mm-hmm.
You know how there is this thing where they say, well, when you take the Tesseract out of the universe, that causes this thing. But obviously, just moving the Tesseract from whatever its timeline appropriate path was because of time travel,
yes,
even though it doesn't take it out, I get the feeling there's going to be a lot of chaos that was caused because Loki escaped.
I mean, it could just be, he could be in a different timeline every episode. That could be, they do call out to TVA, and that could be them saying, hey, you got to fix all this damage you wrought.
Well, they kind of show that there are going to be these multiple timelines. I'm trying to remember, there was one thing that's, oh yeah, that's a whole other thing. And then we also see Loki with the Vote Loki button on, which we love. And seemingly, I'm guessing that's where he eventually takes over the TVA. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's exciting. And I love, that's Luke Wilson in this.
No, Owen Wilson.
Right. Owen Wilson. Dang, I can never tell those two apart.
Luke Wilson is on Stargirl. Owen Wilson is here. Yeah, you know what? For a second, when I first watched this trailer, I thought that was the guy who played young Howard Stark in Avengers Endgame, and I was like, wait. Then I saw online they're saying Owen Wilson. I'm like, oh, whoa.
No, he's doing his Howard Stark because if you remember, Howard and Reed invented the first time machine.
Yes.
So I don't know what we're doing here. I don't know where it's going, but boy, Hiddleston is pretty.
Ah!
And this is this interesting thing where one actor immediately becomes a phenomenon, which is at once beautiful and I imagine difficult for the poor guy because now he's only known as one thing and now he's only going to get cast for certain things. And he auditioned for Thor. He was supposed to be Thor, and but now he's this, and it's okay, so this is going to be a different thing. And but I enjoy it. I enjoy it so much. Mm-hmm. I enjoy it so much, and it's just a teaser. We don't get much, but we do see that there's the TVA, which they always call the TVA. So time passes differently here at the TVA.
How long have you been here? So, I don't know. It's been a long time.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's man, are they just setting that up to be a total misdirect at the end? No, we're not the Time Variance Authority. We're the Tutti Frutti Vivastic apple pickers. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to be, but no, the TVA doesn't mean that. Or even oh no, well, we call it the TVA because it sort of looks like a T and a V and an A in Terran English lettering. But really, that's just a shorthand we use. But actually, what it is this archaic symbol that means that sort of like the Jeremy Bearimy. If you remember from The Good Place, where it's we just call it the Jeremy Bearimy because, weirdly enough, in cursive English, it looks like the name Jeremy Bearimy.
I just wonder if they're just going to be Time Variance Authority. Yeah, you know what? Because you think with those Pym particles, that was the first time humanity's ever tried the time travel. Oh no, it's just that any other time people have tried to time travel, we've slapped them down.
Well, and to be fair, for what it's worth, there is a time stone. So obviously people have been time traveling for a long time.
Yeah.
Also, the Tesseract, as any student will tell you, is technically a fourth dimensional object, and therefore travels in time.
I'd like to call it the Cosmic Cube.
Yes, well, because it is a cosmic cube.
It is.
Because Here's the thing. A cosmic cube can make anything happen. If you can go back in time and change how things play out, you could make anything happen.
Mm-hmm. As we saw.
That's the thing. That's where the Tesseract becomes way more... Everyone just thinks, oh, this moves you from point A to point B. It's sort of like, if you will recall from Rick and Morty, when Rick is trying to do the whole teleportation thing, and the other Rick from another dimension comes to him and says, yeah, trying to work out teleportation, yeah, it's a dead end. Because you know what happens when you crack teleportation? You find out you're the last guy. You're just the last guy to figure out teleportation. He says, what you want to do is dimensional travel, and that gets you to this next level, you know. Because really, the gun is still a teleportation gun, but it's also a dimensional gun. And it's also, you know, it works throughout all these things. And that's sort of what the Tesseract is by becoming this, by grabbing the Tesseract, he is able to move throughout space and time because the Tesseract, again, moves in space and time. Those who have been touched by the Tesseract are all characters who get displaced in time. Either Steve Rogers, who gets frozen, or the Red Skull, who transcends into some wraith being. Yeah, like we think that's the last we've seen of him.
No.
That's the thing. It's like once the stone has served its purpose, what does he do? Does he still stand there once the stone is gone?
Mm.
You know, or does he, it's like, well, I guess I'll just stand here. Or does he go with the stone? And speaking of, well, that's the Soul Stone, but speaking of the Mind Stone, we got our WandaVision trailer drop.
Yep.
A lot more in that one. The Agatha Harkness character is given to show that she doesn't know why she's here either. Monica Rambeau doesn't know why she's there, which is interesting because I do wonder if they're trying to backdoor in Monica Rambeau's original origin within the context of Light and Dark Energy that they stole for Cloak and Dagger and perhaps are going to merge it all together. Maybe we're going to get our backdoor of Cloak and Dagger into this.
Oh, maybe.
Wouldn't that be interesting? You know, like I say, I will never stop believing that Marvel Television is not at least somewhat canonical. They can recast. They can ignore what happened there. So, for example, if we meet Hellstrom later,
mm-hmm.
and it's a different actor, I will guarantee you there'll be some mention of something that happened in this series, not heavily, and it's sort of like what you get with the Star Wars Legends. So with the Star Wars Legends, as me and Tristan talk about it all the time, it's not that they've been made non-canon, it's that they're now legends. These are legends that people believe about these things. Now, we may get confirmation of these legends,
mm-hmm.
but for right now, they're just legends. So right now, I kind of see the Netflix universe, Hellstrom, all connected, and maybe even some parts of Peggy Carter, probably, and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., all in that MCU Legends field, where they're going to bring stuff in, and they are going to bring stuff in. That's the thing. Is like there is so much fan demand to bring stuff in.
Oh, yeah.
There's not an argument not to. There's no reason for Feige to just say, no, we refuse to bring, Charlie Cox as the character Daredevil.
Oh, it's just a license to print money.
Well, exactly. It's like everyone likes him. Everyone liked what you did in that story, so bring it over. Meanwhile, obviously, there has never, ever been an Inhumans live-action adaptation. We know that they never made one, so we'll have to see what eventually Marvel decides to do with that.
Again, with a WandaVision, you can wipe that show away and bring in, good Inhumans.
Well, but you don't even have to wipe it away. It just never happened.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's like it didn't touch us. It's like any of the weird X-Men stuff. That never touched us. But was there something you liked? Well, maybe we're going to do that. Although Hugh Jackman doesn't want to come back as Wolverine, so probably not.
You didn't watch the Mandalorian.
It's not on... Oh, it's on today. Yeah. No, we didn't watch the new Mandalorian. Wow! That's a... Yeah, look at that. Look at that. And my friend at work today was even saying, hey, did you see the new Mandalorian? I'm like...
Oh.
Yeah, I saw it. It was great, yeah. And it's like, yeah, and I'm thinking, oh my God. And then it struck me, wait, was there a new one? And I just realized, oh, it's Friday. Yeah. I just realized today, I just now realized today was Friday. No. Even though I knew it was Friday the whole day, I don't know it's Friday until Mandalorian. And I'm like, oh, Friday Mandalorian. Yeah. Yeah. So I have no idea what happened with Baby Yoda this week. Last I saw, he was being, basically he was beating up stormtroopers and then fell asleep. Because it's tiring.
You didn't see the Mandalorian do the unthinkable, eh?
Oh, did you already see it?
Yes, I did.
Oh, goodness. Well, I'm hoping Baby Yoda's still with us, but if not, that would be a real dark turn, Favreau. That'd be a real freaking dark turn.
Kind of a spoiler, we don't see Baby Yoda this week.
Oh, that's fine. As I said last week, this episode is, the Dirty Dozen.
Yeah.
This is literally, okay, let me get some expendable characters. Yeah. Sorry, Gina, you probably shouldn't have tweeted that. You're expendable now. Yeah, okay, you're going to tweet that. Well, let's see. You know what? I think your character deserves a tragic death.
I think next week might be the finale already. It's episode 8.
I know. That's the weird thing, man. It's like, are we already at that? And, they do like a whole 1-hour episode. Yeah, I can say I could probably wrap up a lot of stuff.
Well, I figure it's the week before Christmas. They'll wrap that, exactly 1 week before Christmas. That'll wrap up that season. And then WandaVision starts January 15th.
Exactly, They got to space it out so me and Maz have time to finish one show and start the next. They know they're timing it. They're timing it all around. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to do this one next, so let's put this here. So they start talking about that,
Oh, yeah. Once the system's in place, I think they're pretty much it's either going to be Star Wars or Marvel. There's going to be, as soon as one ends, another one's going to start up, and boom, boom, boom.
Yeah. And for what it's worth, I think WandaVision is going to be pretty fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's going to be Here's what I'm going to say. When I say it's going to be fantastic in a very different way than Mandalorian is.
Oh, yeah.
Because Mandalorian is fantastic in the sense that it is a Western.
It's like a new original thing when it comes to Star Wars.
Well, exactly. And that's the thing. It's like there is so much of Star Wars that is so much retread.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be. And it really arguably was never supposed to be. But I think it sort of, I think the problem with Star Wars was it was too big of a hit.
Yes.
And so it created its own fandom, and fandom is its own worst enemy. So, and I think Star Trek gets this sometimes too, but at least Star Trek reinvents things. Star Trek did the bold idea of, what if we did something different next time? And that's when they did Next Generation. And it was really, honestly, just a cost-saving measure, because they didn't want to pay all of these... They didn't want to do another series with all the old actors, because first off, they were all old, and they all had progressed in their lives, and characters had progressed. So it's like, you can't have Captain Sulu and Captain Chekhov, running the bridge under Admiral Kirk. It doesn't make any sense.
No.
From the entire structure, it doesn't work. So they created Next Generation, and then they created other generations after that. And I really think that is, as much as Star Trek was a cultural touchstone before that, I think that's what made it into a cultural icon.
Oh, yeah, it made it a bigger expanded universe. Before that, it was just the one ship, basically.
Exactly, and I think that's the idea. It's like, the movies and things like that are your touchstone, but you actually want to be an icon. You want something about this to be more than those. You don't want to be hopping across the pond, jumping from stone to stone to stone to stone. You want to swim in the pond. You want to feel that universe around you and feel what's being built for you. And that is, I think, what The Mandalorian does for Star Wars. The way, arguably, all of the side media did for Star Wars before it. All of the legends did for Star Wars before it. And that was the thing. It's like, Star Wars always had an expanded universe, but there was so much in it that you just couldn't wrap your head around it, and parts of it conflicted with other parts, and that's always the thing. Whether or not a freaking lightsaber is plasma is still a fight I have online every freaking day. It's not plasma, dudes. It's concentrated force energy.
No.
You know, everyone, I built a real plasma sword. It's like, great. So you're Thundar the Barbarian. That's a plasma sword. Everything about the Sun Sword says it is a plasma sword. It is not a lightsaber. That's a very different thing. Thundar the Barbarian, very cool. We all love Thundar. Say you've created a Thundar the Barbarian-like Sun Sword because that's what you built. You did not build a lightsaber. Thanks for playing. You know, it's like when everyone says, "Oh, it's a hoverboard," and it's two wheels on a board. I am really shocked Lilith got one of those for her birthday. Honestly, because first off, I thought hoverboards were like, you know, a decade ago. But you know, I understand nostalgia. I understand the desire to just roll, to just roll with it. And what is more Lilith than to just roll with it? Oh, she never, you know, interjects. That's an interesting thing. But yeah, so that's a whole thing there. What were we talking about?
Well, we're talking about Loki, and then we got into WandaVision.
Yes. Then we got way off topic there. Let's talk mutants.
Okay.
Because mutants are weird in the Marvel Universe of late. And to do that, we're going to throw in some comic books into this because I do want to talk Juggernaut number 4.
Ooh.
Where, you know, it's actually really cool, especially with D-Cell's whole shtick of saying, I'm not a mutant. Mm-hmm. Which is surprisingly reminiscent of Ms. Gwenpool's I'm not a mutant. And many other people, like Quill, saying, I'm not a mutant. Before, eventually it was just, no, you're a mutant, so you're going to be a mutant. Which makes me wonder, are mutants really even mutants?
Ew.
Or are they just people with superpowers? Which is something that I get into this idea of within the structure of the MCU, they may be leaning towards. That it's not that you're a mutant or you're not a mutant. It's that there are certain people who have superpowers. Why they have superpowers, who knows? This idea that there's this special X gene. First off, have they isolated the X gene? Have they been able to replicate it? I don't know. It's weird. It's crazy. I mean, Mr. Sinister says he does it, but Mr. Sinister is a freaking monster. Is a literal human monster. Like, you know, they say, no, you know, Frankenstein's technically the monster. It's like, yes, but Dr. Frankenstein actually is the monster. In Mr. Sinister, it's stop, you're both right. He is the monster and the monster.
There's bad things going on there. They're clones or something. It's, you know.
Yeah, and we get this whole thing here, because apparently you have this very complex issue with for-profit supervillain prisons. Which makes sense because, hey, capitalism and, you know, late-stage capitalism. And basically Arnim Zola is trying to, you know, of course, doing all of his studies and experiments with things. And there's an interesting aspect of this where they say that Arnim Zola is being controlled as well. Because we see that the plasmoid character is being controlled, which is this guy who... Unlike a lot of, you know, his doughboy kind of characters, has a real, seems to have a real character and, like, opinion on things. You kind of feel, he kind of feels like a Star Warsian droid. You know, just give you a little synergy here, where he's, like, talking, but he says, no, actually, I literally can't do anything that, you know, Arnim Zola doesn't tell me to do. But, oh yeah, and then we have this. You keep on having these interstitials of Marco and Cyttorak, where he gets his new armor, he reclaims the gem, but it's all literally so that he can say, I have your power now, but I'm not your avatar. I have all my power back, but I'm not your avatar. I don't have to do what you tell me to do, because I'm not going to do what anyone tells me to anymore. I'm going to make right with my word. And, you know, that's a pretty noble thing. And he, like, stops D-Cell from killing Arnim Zola because he doesn't want to be, but you don't want to be like him. And then next episode, and I knew it from the start. The minute they said, "Oh, there's some kind of radioactive control in the sand person," I was like, "Swarm's going to be a part of this, isn't he?" Because immediately when they, as soon as I saw the quicksand, I was like, "Oh yeah, Nazi scientist Swarm." I knew Swarm was coming back. Swarm is back. Theory confirmed. B's on the cover of Juggernaut 5. So I liked this, but again, this whole idea of what makes someone a mutant, that's the question that we have to have. I am waiting for Valeria and Franklin to have that one-on-one talk about, you know how Ben gets to be human now, because you were part of that project too. So you and us both know that we're just creating a method for him to get beyond his psychic barrier. And you've built your own psychic barrier. You're basically the reverse thing. You want so badly to be human, and now you get to be, and you're mad about it. The same way that Ben wants so badly to be human, and then when he's human, he's always immediately mad about it. So, yeah. But along the lines of mutants, we also got Avengers 39 this week, which suggests mutants are far older than we have suggested. Although, again, it's not like they're bringing in all the six-fingered kids. And that's my biggest problem with the mutants, is that, well, of course, technically polydactylism isn't necessarily a mutation. It's just a genetic difference. But then again, I love you too, Tristan. Like, what makes someone a mutant, what makes you a mutant is that you have a genetic expression that didn't exist in your parents. Except that's not how how mutants are defined in this. Because they actually have that. All humans have the X gene. It's just whether or not the X gene expresses itself. Which means that mutants aren't mutants at all. They're actually just normal people.
Exactly.
But I do think they're building towards something here. I actually think there is a plan for the mutants that is basically going to make it, as I said, that mutants who have always been here, always were here. Because even in this, we see mutants have always been here, always were here. Which, if you think about it, from the minute you had Apocalypse as a mutant before the nuclear age, before the children of the atom, at that moment you create that idea that, yeah, mutants have been around for a long time. Which I guess technically means Namor isn't the first mutant.
Yeah.
But again, as I've said, it's not like Namor really is the first mutant. He's a hybrid, and it was advantageous to Charles to have Namor on his team if he wanted him, But we get in... Yeah.
I don't know, just this prehistoric stuff. I mean, if you want, like, superhumans at the dawn of time, that's fine, but I'm just like, I don't know, I kind of like our characters to be unique, and it's just like, oh, you had prehistoric Avengers, you had prehistoric X-Men. It's just like...
Well, but the idea, and this is the thing, once you tie it to Norse mythology, once you tie it to the Brotherhood of the Shield, it's like Marvel's been building out this cosmic backstory for a long time now.
Yeah.
Since Hickman was doing his thing over in S.H.I.E.L.D., which was this idea that, what if S.H.I.E.L.D. is this ancient order? What if Hydra spins off of that under Newton? What if everything we think is this modern 20th century invention actually has this deeper, darker history that we haven't really explored? And I think that's something that they're also doing with the Avengers right now, with Howard Stark having something to do with Mephisto. This idea that, maybe Howard Stark started in the secret Brotherhood of the Shield, but got recruited into the secret Brotherhood of the Hydra. Ew. Of which, and maybe it is actually the Mephistophelian Brotherhood, that maybe that's what Newton uncovered, was the secret to power, is these demons. Although, again, as James Oden would say, the problem with you smart people is you never think. He says he's a demon. calls himself the Prince of Lies. That should tell you something. You know. Oh, and I love that thing in the just to bring it all full circle, the Loki trailer where says, "I don't like to talk." So, well, now that's a lie. Because you really like to talk. So, yeah. Here's what I'll say. It's like, I don't mind that Marvel history rhymes.
Yes.
I don't mind that there is a whole plot line in there where these characters, especially a character like the Phoenix, that the Phoenix has been around for millennia. And I kind of get this idea within it that the Phoenix gets fundamentally changed by the redheaded mutant who dies and comes back, who feels other people's deaths. Because I think in that there is this concept of what I like to call reverse apotheosis. You know, when you talk about most stories and myths, they're usually about apotheosis, which is this idea that a mortal being becomes a god. That they transition from that mortal world to becoming a god. And in becoming a god, they become all powerful and yada yada, lightning bolt, lightning bolt, lightning bolt. But I think what is interesting in some myths, and I think the myths that have the most power, the myths like the myth of Heracles, like the story of Jesus, and many other characters, is this idea of a reverse apotheosis, where an infinite godlike being becomes mortal. And the moment they understand a mortal, they suddenly become shocked by their godly disregard for the universe. And in this case, once the Phoenix touches the little red-haired girl, just like Charlie Brown fell in love with, once the Phoenix becomes a part of the little red-haired girl, she is going to destroy the world, as the Phoenix is wont to do. But because she is touching that human spirit that has connection to other living things, that human spirit that wants to be a part of the world, that's where the Phoenix can't pull the trigger, can't just destroy. And I think that the end scene in this is really neat when the Phoenix, very self-aware, tells Odin, you know, I'm here to recruit you to save the planet from essentially from people like us and us ourselves. This idea that, we are as much of a threat to this world as anything. And it's important for us to fight that. And I like that. I within the context of whatever that's bigger that they're building, I'm working with it and I'm feeling very positive about it. Yeah. But that's my opinion.
What, the whole prehistoric Avengers thing?
Well, I think what the idea is that they're trying to say that everything that exists does exist within a context of a world that was always more than it seemed to be.
I guess so.
You know, there's this, again, going back to one of my favorite comic books ever printed, the official handbook to the Marvel Universe, or possibly Marvel Saga, it was said in as well, was that the tradition of becoming a masked superhero was well established in our world by the time that such and such gained power. That by the time this person gained power, everybody thought it was, well, I guess I'll get a costume and be a supervillain then, since that's what you do, or get a costume and be a superhero, because that's what you do. That basically, Marvel's been doing this for years, going back to their Old West comics, where they also said, you know what, let's say that the Old West characters did that. That's why they're wearing the masks and they're doing the Lone Ranger bit. And I think what Marvel does in a way that I think that DC doesn't do as much is that Marvel really loves to go back and build that. Although, to be fair, DC is doing apparently Justice League 1 million BC or 1 million AD or 1 million something. Because they have Shining Knight and Hippolyta and a couple of other characters forming their own first Justice League, where the Shining Knight is like your Batman, which is ironic because he's the Shining Knight, but... Oh, no, it's the Viking Prince, not the Shining Knight. That's right. It's Viking Prince, Hippolyta, and then there's two other characters that are clearly... Oh, Swamp Thing is in it, too. This is in... What book is this in? I only read the discussion of it, but yeah. Oh, this is the start of the Endless Winter story, or whatever they're calling it this week. Yeah, so basically in that story... you have Hippolyta, the Viking Prince,
Black Adam,
and I think there's someone else in there, and then Swamp Thing, but I guess the first Swamp Thing, because now even the Swamp Thing isn't like a new character, isn't just not Ted Sallis, it's actually this other guy, which, again, Marvel already established with the idea that the Man-Thing existed before Ted Sallis, and yada, yada, yada. DC, they like to copy. But yeah, so...
Yeah, well, it actually, because Endless Winter went in the Flash, so it was actually in this week's Flash, yeah. Mm-hmm. It showed, I guess they had battled this Frost King back in the day.
Yeah.
Oh, in the 10th century, yeah.
Yes. The 10th. Oh, the 10th. So a mere 1,000 years ago? Really?
Pretty much.
Yeah, well, I guess if you want to have Tathaman in it, I guess you kind of can't go back too far. Although, actually, I thought, no, Tathaman was in BC. Oh, but he was buried under the rock. But then, I don't know. DC, get your timeline straight. Anyway, Viking Prince. So, yeah, so he's the Batman. Hippolyta is the Wonder Woman. Tathaman is Superman. And then Swamp Thing is Swamp Thing. So that's good. But you know who they don't have in that team? Conan the Barbarian.
Oh.
Yeah, he's got an enchanted sword that makes him kill people. And it's driving him crazy. Because the sword wants blood. Which makes, really, I don't know, it's kind of nuts in this whole episode. Because it's like, you're not sure, like, is Conan killing people that are, like, thieves and murderers? Or is he just murdering random people because the sword tells him that they're thieves and murderers? It's a little dark, a little uncomfortable, I'm going to be honest with you. Still enjoy Conan. It's a good book. I got a free Conan poster at the comic book store this week, so I was very happy about that. But yeah, Conan the Barbarian, it's pretty neat, but yeah, he's got an evil enchanted blade that eats souls, so that's not good. Anyway, do you have any other books you want to talk about this week, Phil?
Yeah, we're going to put those. Here we are. Well, I know you did say something about Spider-Man, so Amazing Spider-Man 54. I mean, there really wasn't a ton here. I mean, yeah, Peter confronts Harry, and he, Peter's like, we've done this before, basically saying, the guy with the daddy issues comes at me, and, then basically Harry's like, no, not this, this time. I guess he's basically demonic. And he basically beats Peter to death and brings him back to life.
Okay.
Because he's like, how does he put it? He's like, I'm going to show you what hell looks like. It's worse, there's something worse than death here. Because he beats him to death, and then he's like, just, I guess, suffering.
Okay. Oh, because they're in, like, the Mindscape realm or something.
Well, and then Harry says, because you're the cause of everyone's suffering and stuff, and then when all the spider people show up, he's like, oh, look, here comes your friends, and oh, look, there's the Sin Eater, and Peter's like, no, don't, they're walking into a trap, but then Harry's like, oh, someone always pays a price unless you confess, and then at the last page, you see Mary Jane showing up.
Oh, no. Okay.
So, I mean, Harry keeps asking him to confess, so I'm wondering if he means the Mephisto deal. That's what I'm saying. I wonder if, like, Harry got damned somehow from Peter making the deal, because, yeah, Harry was dead until he made that deal. Then all of a sudden it's like, oh, no, Harry was just in Europe for a couple of years.
Yeah, but well, that's where Osborns go when they die. Where do Osborns go when they die? They go to Europe.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, okay. This would go to that whole idea that maybe Mary Jane knows. Maybe that's who needs to confess.
Maybe.
Because there is that, what did Mary Jane whisper to Mephisto before she took the deal?
Oh.
That's the big mystery. And everybody like zooms it. Well, we zoomed in on the lettering. It's like, no, you didn't. You're lying. Because they don't write the lettering in a way that you could just zoom in on it. That would be stupid.
Yeah.
And
again,
that would be a stupid way to maintain a mystery,
Yeah, and again, I mean, anyone who worked on that is long gone, so it's like...
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, it's just Harry seems to be blaming Peter, for everyone's suffering. Something again, is it Harry suffering again? Did the deal do something to Harry? Was he at peace? And it's like, oh no, you cursed me and brought me back. Blah blah blah.
It's all in his mind. Wasn't Harry? It's like that whole thing in Ghost Rider where they have the Traveler. Just call me JC. With my long hair and my beard. It's like, oh, goodness. Clearly, you are this person. Nope, I'm Mephisto. Ha ha. You thought white Jesus was real Jesus. See, that was your own prejudice. Take that, Ghost Rider.
I think that was just, some of the readers were like, oh, you can't be blasphemous against Jesus, but oh, you can mess with the devil all you want.
Well, although, like I said, I'm just saying how that story would read today. We would say, wait a minute, why is Jesus white?
Exactly.
Why are you having this white, blue-eyed guy be Jesus? Why do you think of that Jesus? That looks like Charles Manson, if you ask me.
There's still those pictures of, it's like, oh, remember what the reason for Christmas? And it's like supposed to be a picture of Jesus, but it's a picture of Ewan McGregor from as Obi-Wan Kenobi, young Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Well, reason is festive Consumers Day, my friend. The Nagus of conspicuous consumption shall arrive and give great bargains to all the good little Ferengi who study their rules of acquisition at night.
Oh, you know what issue was interesting? Guardians of the Galaxy 9 by our friend Al Ewing.
Oh, how's that going?
I mean, well, a couple issues back, he looked like he had killed off Peter Quill, and I guess Quill's like, in this issue, it looks like he's in another dimension, and he's kind of like in a throuple with some alien man and woman, and it seems like he's there for like, 100 years or 200 years or something, but it's like, it almost seems like Al Ewing's trying to tie the two Star-Lord origins together, because before the whole, he was a kid picked up by Yondu and stuff, it was that whole, what was it, like a space wizard appoints him like the Star-Lord or whatever.
Yeah, there were all sorts of things.
Because
there's like 6 different Star-Lord origins, even one where he was just the Prince of Abraxas or something,
Yeah, because, he's getting flashes of, that whole thing, him being appointed by this, old man on his throne, and it's just like, I get flashes of that sometimes,
Yeah, that's the gag. That's what Marvel does. They're not gonna. It's continuity, baby. We don't let that continuity last forever, man. Oh, you thought we didn't know about that? No, we remembered. We remember.
Yeah, because it looks like he gets appointed. Then he
Marvel Farms remembers.
Yeah, it looks like he gets appointed. Then he wakes up as a child. Yeah. But it's like, how does your element gun work? Oh, I don't know. It just always does.
It just does elements. And sometimes shoots bubbles. That was the best effect in all of Infinity War. Just Thanos likes bubbles. Which shows that Thanos has a playful nature. He really just wanted to be a big jolly guy, but everyone just wouldn't listen to him.
I think he was just trying to show him how insignificant he was.
I don't know, maybe.
You come out with toys?
Except it wasn't really a toy. Obviously, you've altered reality. So
yes,
you're not playing fair, Thanos. And really, what is it's Thanos. Nobody liked you, Thanos.
Go home.
It wasn't a practical thing. Everyone who actually knows about anything said, yeah, actually, it wasn't a practical plan. It was actually a really stupid plan. And it really doesn't work.
That's right.
Especially when you kill half the trees. Like, I will just get rid of half the resources in this planet. It's like, dude, if humans eat trees, you know that, right? It's like you can't kill the living things that all the living things survive on. That's why you're dumb. That's why you're dumb, Thanos. You're a dumb guy. That's the problem with smart people. You don't think. Oh, it is just... anyway, so yeah, Thanos is
dumb.
Dead, hopefully, this week. Anything else you want to talk about this week, Phil?
No, I think we're good.
I think we're very good. You know,
I just wanted to say before we go, everyone, remember, next 2 weeks, Capes and Lunatics are going to be pre-recorded. So if there's any big news items, remember, come here to Superconnectivity. That's where we'll be talking in the next 2 weeks.
Because I have no life.
Me neither.
Yay! That's what happens when you have kids. Podcasting becomes all you have. So I was like, no, I'm actually going to go out because I don't have kids, and I will actually eat a steak.
Hey, there's a pandemic this year. It's responsible.
Yes, well, fair enough. But I was like, I'm going to be irresponsible in my house and eat a steak in my house and just not do this stuff because I have things I want to do. She's focusing on writing the Great American Novel, you know.
There you go.
I should have written a novel. I didn't. Why? Because I'm doing podcasts. And I have kids. See?
Someone write this down.
Balance. Oh, it's being recorded. It's going to be somewhere. Anyway, Philip, I've enjoyed listening to you, talking to you. But, many people don't enjoy listening to us. And you know why, Philip? You know why they don't enjoy listening to us?
Because they don't have tweaked audio headphones.
That's correct. And they should just go to tweakedaudio.com, use the coupon code Southgate at checkout, and get some high-quality earbuds that are Bluetooth enabled even, because, the kids love the Bluetooth. And listen to this episode in stereophonic sound. Come back and listen. You'll hear much more interesting things you didn't hear the last time. Likewise, use that same coupon code Southgate. Go over to hunterkiller.com. Get an escape room delivered to your house, and then just put in that code and get a discount on that, too, because you can use that code more than once, which is weird because most coupons you can't, but this one you can. Likewise, you should pick up Pod Life the book, which is a great book about podcasting. A second volume is coming soon, and in this situation, you might also be able to get the digital book as well as the hard copy. So if you want to prepare for the apocalypse, get it in hardcover or softcover. If you really think, technology will continue to expand throughout eternity, get the digital book, and that's fine too. Might be an audiobook coming. I don't know. He's like George Costanza. He does not. He prefers audiobooks.
Oh yes,
audiobooks. Because otherwise, when it's an audiobook, it's all these different voices. When it's just him, it's just his voice in his head. It just doesn't work.
Without a doubt.
Meanwhile, if you want to do any of that, go down to our show notes, click on the link to Amazon. That's where you can buy that stuff. We also have a whole gift guide, which you can pick out gifts for your friends, family, loved one, or just for yourself. So do that too in this holiday season of giving. And in the final analysis, Philip, if someone wants to write to us and talk to us about whatever, how can they do that?
The easiest way is to email us, capesandlunatics@gmail.com, or call the voicemail 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And you can find links to all our social media, links to the YouTube channel, links to merchandise, links to Patreon, everything at Linktree, linktr.ee/capesandlunatics.
And, of course, you can always write to me in that old-fashioned email way the way our miles and pause once did at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, @gmail.com. And, of course, follow me on the Twitter as I live tweet the final season of DuckTales. Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, when I remember. At Charlie Esser, that's CharlieEsser. Look for the 2 E's in the middle.
For quality. Bing!
Thank you, Maz. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this has been another episode of Superconnectivity. Wenja, come on back next week and super connect with us again. There might be more Marvel news. So are we doing Wonder Woman on the 1st of January, or
sometime that weekend, whenever we schedule that? Yes.
Okay. Well, I don't know. You're the one that schedules these things.
Well,
that's all I'm saying.
See when the Great Wolf Hellfire gets back to town. But it'll hit the podcast January 4th.
January 4th. Okay.
That's when it'll be on the podcast.
Wonder Woman.